Don't forget to like, subscribe and share the videos.
Hello all, welcome to Ganesh IAS Academy. This is the special session. In this session, we are going to see about the previous year UPSC Mains economic question. Okay, so let's begin the session. This question was asked in 2024, which is the last mains, and it's also a 15-mark question, 250 words question. The question is about the labor code. Discuss the merits and demerits of the 4 labor codes in the context of the labor market reform in India. What has been the progress so far in this regard? First of all, you have to need to know about certain major reforms when it comes to the economic reform, the LPG era in 1991. So that is the major reform did related to the economy. And also when it comes to the labor market reform, this is the major reform. It introduced the 4 labor codes. So this is also a major reform. There will be a possibility for the repeated questions from these topics, either from the LPG era or else from this labor market reform of these 4 labor codes. So first of all, you need to find the keywords. So here the keyword is obviously the labor code. Okay, and then the progress so far made. Okay, so obviously the only keyword here is the labor code. So you have to give the intro based on the labor code only. Next, you have to structure the question. So the structure of the question should be intro, discuss its merits and demerits of the 4 labor codes in the context of, okay, what has been the progress so far made. So the progress, and then the conclusion. So this is the structure for this question. Okay, so you have to do a brainstorming after you are seeing this question. You have to do certain brainstorming related to that. For example, what is the intro, what is the merits and demerits, and also what are the achievements it did. So what are the things we need to change in this labor law. So in that way, you have to do certain brainstorming for around 20 to 30 seconds. Then you have to start the answer because it is a 15-mark question. Okay, so there is a major possibility for the deviation from the answer. So that is why when it comes to 15 mark, try to do certain brainstormings and also list certain points related to that question. That is more important. Okay, so then the intro. So the intro is about the labor code only. The 4 labor code introduced by the government of India consolidated the 29 existing labor laws into the simplified framework aimed at improving the ease of compliance, transparency and the workers' welfare. When it comes to the previous labor laws, the major issue is about this 29 laws. Consider that I am starting a company or else you are starting a company. You have to get a clearance from all these 29 laws. Okay, there will be a specific office or there will be a specific authorities related to that law. You have to get a clearance from the every person. Okay, when it comes to the ease of doing business, the major issue for India is about getting a clearance. For India, it is around taking a time of around 2 years. But when it comes to China, it is around 30 to 40 days only. So that is the major thing. So that is why the more foreign investment, foreign direct investments or else MNCs are constructed in China. So there is a win-win situation for China. So there is a huge market and also there will be lower complaints of law. So in that scenario, major MNCs will be focused on that region to overcome that thing and also to make India to grow. We need definitely companies and also we have to provide the employment opportunities. For that thing, we done a labor reform. Okay, we consolidated it into a 4 labor codes. So the reason behind introducing these 4 labor codes is to increases the growth of the India based on the trade and employment. That is the major thing, and also to increases the export and also to reduces the import. So these are the major things we focused and introduced the 4 labor codes. Now you have to give the merits. First thing, the first point itself is about simplified and the consolidated law. So it is a consolidation of the 29 laws. So that is the major achievement. Okay, and then it provided the employees welfare as a social security benefits for the zig worker. So zig workers are nothing but they are a contractual workers. Okay, so they will be run on the contracts. For example, here is about the delivery boys, so the delivery persons. So these are the guys comes under the zig economy. Okay, so they don't have any social benefits, they won't have any PF or insurance facilities or a health insurance, like anything will be there. So to overcome that thing, the for labor code introduced the employees welfare for a social security, even it is extended for a zig workers. So that is the major achievement. It is focusing on the unorganized sector also. That is the major thing. Next, about a flexibility to the employers, streamlining their hiring and firing things. When it comes to before the LPG era, you have the issues here. Before the LPG era is about you have to start a company, you have to face lot of loss, and also if you are want to exist the company, okay, you have to end your company, means that is also faces a lot of loss. Okay, you can't shut your door, you can't shut your company. So that is the major issue before the LPG era, but still that issue prevailed in India. Okay, so you can, even if you are easily able to start a company, you can't exist the company. Okay, so that is the major issue faced by the companies. So for that they have to run the company even if it is making a loss. To overcome that thing, easy hiring and firing policy, that is also introduced in this four labor codes. Okay, that is the major change. Next, occupational safety codes, which is heavily going to help the employees. Okay, so it is providing a fixed work hours, okay, clean working condition. That is the major things they that achieved. Next, ease of doing business by unified registration and licensing and reporting mechanisms. And the last thing about grievance redressal mechanism to the employees and the employers. Okay, it will create a forum to make a discussions. Okay, to create a negotiation and to make a bargaining, to overcome the issue of the tussle that leads to the loss of productions. To overcome that thing, they are providing a grievance redressal mechanism also. So these are the major benefits of this four labor codes. But there are also many demerits. First major demerits here is about strict strike rules. Okay, so if you are going for a strike, okay, consider that you are an employee or else you are working as a labor in any company. Okay, so trade union decided to go for a strike. Before, if you are want to go for a strike, means you have to give a notice prior of 60 days, which means if you are want to go for a strike in February, you have to inform it in December itself. Okay, so 60 days notice, which is clearly affecting the rights of the laborers. Consider that I am facing certain issue. Consider that I am an employee. Okay, I am facing any issues with the employers. Okay, company's management. So definitely I will go for a strike on the next day itself, on that day itself. So that is how the strike mechanism will run. But here it is saying that you have to give a notice prior of 60 days. That is the major issue. Okay, so it is affecting the rights of the labor. Next, easy layoff policies. Okay, we said that there is a easy layoff policy for a company that is employing less than 300 persons. They can easily lay off their people. Okay, they can easily lay off their employees. That is how the four labor code is saying. In that scenario, that is going definitely going to affect the employees. Okay, so that is the major issue. So this, if you are want to make a labor code, we are reform in a labor law, you have to make a certain balance. You have to focus on the employees and the employers. Both the person need to be benefited. But when it comes to these laws, there is a issue of it mainly focusing on the employers or the management or the company, not the employees. So that is the major concern. Next, vague provisions. There are a lot of vague provisions related to the occupational safety. Okay, so there are many vague provisions in it, and how you can interpret it is, okay, that is the major concern. Next, delay in the implementation. It was introduced in 2019. Still, there is no complaints made by many of the companies. So that is the major issue. And state autonomy is affected. That is the obvious thing. It is more of centralized one. So all the regulations will be done by the central government, central ministry. In that scenario, what is the power for the state? What is the autonomy for the state? So that is the major issue. Okay, center state relationship is heavily affected due to these 4 labor codes. Next is about higher administrative complaints for smaller companies like MSMEs. Okay, for example, I am running a MSME. Okay, in that scenario, I have to face major loss. So this 4 labor code give the many issues like occupational safety and also labor safety. In that way, it is providing a many laws, social security benefits. So these are the things affects my operation for a smaller companies. That is the major issue, because when it comes to smaller companies, they don't have any auditor, they don't have any legal team. So in that scenario, how they will manage all this thing? That is the major issue. Weakening the trade union. Obviously, it is affecting the trade union by providing the stringent rules. Okay, you have to register your trade union. That is the major issue. Okay, and the last thing is the lack of specific provisions for women in a workplace. So it is speaking about the social security, social benefits, occupational safety, but when it comes to women, there is a very vague definition, or else there is no definitions, or else no provisions related to the women's safety. Okay, that is also the major concerns when it comes to this law. So these are the merits and the demerits of the 4 labor codes introduced by India. Then you have to speak about what has been the progress so far in this regard. So the what is the progress? You have to give the progress. After introducing this thing, there is a huge GDP growth rate. It is around 6 to 7%. After the COVID-19, the GDP growth rate was heavily affected. But after introduction of this thing, there is a huge growth happened. So that is the major thing. And also you can view the recent news itself. India achieved the highest FDI in the history. So which means foreign direct investments. All this is happening due to this 4 labor laws. So India achieved the huge FDI inflow. That is also due to this 4 labor codes. And also India showed the reduction in the unemployment based on the NSO report. That is also happened due to this 4 labor codes. Okay, so these are the progress we made, but you have to say that still there is a issue. In the conclusion part, you have to say that still there is a issues need to be addressed, and also we need to reform this labor code more in balance between the employers and the employees. In that way, you have to conclude it, and also you have to say that to achieve the Vikshit Bharat, we need still major reform related to the labor laws. Okay, in that way, you try to conclude it. Okay, always try to give the balanced answer. That is more important. Okay, thank you.